Last but not least, about the race, did you hallucinate? And if yes, how was that experience?
Did I hallucinate? So the way to answer this question is, where did I not hallucinate? I mean, this may sound like an exaggeration, but it was a mix and match between reality and dream. Like, you don't know what's real. I am seeing multiple things. Like, I am pretty sure there is one stone here, but there is two stones, and the third stone is a cat that's jumping.
Hi, friends, and welcome back to the Mind Over Miles podcast here with Yunus. Today is the closing episode of the Mind Over Miles podcast journey of Yunus attempting the Monte Rosa Wasserweg Ultra Trail, 122 kilometers through Monte Rosa mountains and more than 8.6k of elevation gain. Absolutely impressive race. So, thanks, Yunus, for coming again to the
No problem.
podcast.
No problem.
And since now you finished the race, little spoiler, already spoiled, I want to know a little bit from you. What are your overall comments, feelings, and start like describing us how was the race? Was it like as you expected or not?
Uh, the race was as I expected. I was expecting it to be the hardest challenge of my life. It was indeed the hardest challenge of my life. What I was not expecting is how hard it is.
You underestimated the race or overestimated yourself?
Neither and both. Like, I didn't underestimate. I knew it would be that hard, but by contemplating how hard it will be, or how ready you are, is never what's happening in reality. Things happen when you are in move, like when you are actually racing. Then you understand, how things are going, how things are going to go, and I mean, once again, you can never be fully ready for these races. You have to fight there.
I mean, this already gives us a hint of how much it was your struggle from your words. But also remind our audience, did you manage to finish the whole race and at what time?
I finished the race in 36 hours, 1 minute, I guess. And I thought the cutoff was 36 hours. But turns out cutoff is 36 hours, 15 minutes. So I barely finished it. Um,
But you managed to do it. You managed to get until the end. And were you the last one of the race?
no, there were three or four people, I don't know, three people after me. So I wasn't the last one. And it was actually the first time the organizers organized this race in this distance. So they probably also didn't know how long it would take. And out of 450, I guess, runners, 170 didn't finish. This is extremely high for an ultra.
Yeah, indeed. Also, just to give a perspective of how much, for example, like a pro trail runner will finish this race, the first finisher finished this insanely long race in 16 hours,
17 hours.
17 hours, more or less. So it's a short time. But the mid pack of the runners finished between 30 and 36 hours. So the gap is really huge. So in the last episode, we discussed about what was your race strategy, what was your race plan, and I would like now to hear from you what actually happened versus what we planned before the race.
When you are doing the race, they are all thrown to the garbage. All the strategy, all the plan that you do, essentially once the race starts, I don't know, your world changes. Because so there were few challenges. First challenge was the 8,600 meters of altitude gain. That means, I said it in one of the previous episodes, climbing up Everest from base camp once, coming down, and doing it again, and then coming down again, almost. So and it normally takes 2 months, and you have to finish it in 36 hours. That was the first challenge. The distance is not that big of a challenge. I know how these races are described with distances, and people are like, oh, 120k. A 120k on a flat surface is 8 times easier than a 120k in the mountains. And anybody that does mountain races will know what I mean. It's a completely different world. Uh, the second challenge and the bigger challenge for me was the starting in the evening. I've never started a race in 6 p.m. and then ran through all night, where I was hoping to finish the next night at 9. What happened is I happened to run through a second whole night, which means I didn't go without sleep for 2 nights, probably for the first time in my life, and that had consequences.
Definitely. So I think also it was not in our plan to do two full nights. In our original plan, you were super confident that you could finish around 1, 2 in the morning of the second day. But in reality, you finished around 7 in the morning. So that, of course, changed the old plans that we already had. But when it comes to, for example, nutrition and fuel and liquids, how did you manage? What was your plan? And what happened in reality?
So my plan was to keep nutrition and hydration. Like the plan was simple. I like the aid station food, so like I can eat anything. And in one of the previous episodes, I remember saying like get shocked when people say they have stomach problems. Like I am always able to eat, and in one of the previous episodes, I also said it's an eating competition. It's not a running competition. When I started the race, so the race starts from Aosta, which is at 500 meters, which is sort of like a mountain town, big mountain town. It's almost a city. From there, it climbs from the beginning at 6 p.m. You just climb for approximately 4 or 5 hours. It's not like climbing half an hour, 1 hour. You just climb for 25 kilometers. And while I tried pacing myself, obviously, like all the mistakes that we talk, like you gotta pace yourself, you have a lot of energies, blah blah blah. While I tried pacing myself, I think I went faster than I was supposed to. And like when I reached the second CP, at around 24k, and I was expecting it around 20k, it was around 24k. It became already night, and my stomach completely shut down. Like I didn't want to eat anything. I had no appetite. I just forced something, knowing that I have to eat. I just forced a few gels and a few stuff from the CP, but like, and when my stomach shut down, I remembered all the things that I said. It's an eating competition, so I will not be able to finish this competition maybe. So it started much worse than I expected.
Yeah, I remember I came to the second CP, and your face was like, I cannot continue like this.
You came to the third CP, not
Third
second
CP.
CP.
Sorry, third CP,
Mhm.
the San Bartolome. The second accessible CP. And yeah, that was a tough time. You really struggled over there, and the night already kicked in because you started at 7 p.m. So also you naturally don't have appetite such late in the day, and that probably also plays a role. Plus the let's say fatigue from all the uphills, it definitely has a toll on your stomach and on your body. How about hydration? Did you manage to be properly hydrated? Okay, you could not maybe manage to eat as much as you wish you would have in the first half of the race, but how about hydration strategy?
So there are two parts, and in one of the previous episodes, again, I said hydration is not just drinking water; it's also taking minerals and salts and etc. I drank a lot of water, and the 1 liter packs. I had two 500 milliliters soft pack. Uh, like surprisingly for me, every 10k there is a CP, every 10 12k. Surprisingly for me, they weren't enough. Like I remember there were people giving us water between two CPs, and I filled them up actually again. Like I was that thirsty. I was dehydrating that much. But I would assume another reason why I was constantly feeling thirsty and like dehydrating that much is because I wasn't getting enough minerals. Because when you sweat, you also lose a lot of minerals, which are extremely critical for all physical activities. And because I wasn't getting those critical minerals, I was feeling even more thirsty. And after a while, around even 20 25k, I started feeling cramps. Like normally I feel cramps. Sometimes in some ultras I don't feel cramps at all, which told me like, okay, I'm not getting enough salts. And I think then I asked for those salt tablets from you, or I just started consuming them more, tried eating more salty stuff, etc., which I think partially helped.
Yes, definitely. Also, probably the steepness of the climb and the effort you need to put into to just make it all the way to the top, it's much more compared to a flat surface. So you naturally sweat more.
Yeah.
That probably also plays a big role. And now let's go a little bit more into the race and how, for example, did your body react to the distance? For example, blisters, pains, injuries. How did your body handle these 122 kilometers?
I would say generally positive, actually better than I expected. Why am I saying that? The reason why I'm saying that is because in all of the previous ultras, especially in the long distances, I had IT bands issues, and they literally turn your life into nightmare. Like every step ridiculously hurts on your knee, and you take probably close to 200,000 steps in these ultras. Imagine getting stepped 200,000 times while trying to race, trying to run. In this race, I didn't have any, which was a blessing, which shows two things. One, my body is getting it up to these long races. As you gain more experience, as you do them more often and more, the body literally accumulates miles. Two, I tried going to the gym, did some strength work, etc. I think that also helped, particularly trying to strengthen my hips because that's where they connect to the body. I think that helped. So this was the positive side. The second positive side that I can talk about is probably my legs were fresh. I had no muscle problems, like despite this long distance. My nails are perfectly okay. Normally, you lose nails that long distance. I attribute it to getting better socks, constantly changing them, and also having better shoes, which is ASICS Gel Tropico 13. I love them. Absolutely, they are perfectly comfortable. Their grip is incredible, and they are not even like a super shoe with carbon plate. They are not super expensive. Like they are outstanding. Like ASICS done an outstanding job here. We are not sponsored, but they can sponsor if they want because they are literally. It's definitely the Japanese quality. Like
Okay.
so there is also the negative sides that I wasn't expecting. Stomach issues. Like even at the beginning, I felt like, do I have like even the day before, I kept asking Kiara like, do I have diarrhea? Maybe. Obviously, she's not checking my intestines to see if I have diarrhea. But like it's partially it's the stress of the race. Stress. I mean, remember from your childhood for before exams, you feel a need to go to toilet. It's like that partially maybe I don't know it was something else. So I had this because diarrhea means end of the race. Like you lose water, you're feeling sick, blah blah.
And you have experience of that.
I have a horrible experience of that. But like I didn't have that. Um, the lack of sleep is a huge and big story that happened. My body reacted well in the first night. The second night, not so much. Um, What else? Other than that, overall, I think my body was much better than I expected.
That's very good. We will get to the night experience in just a moment, but first, tell us a bit more about your equipment strategy. Uh, why was it so important for you to keep changing equipment? What you kept changing, and why do you think that was important?
So, because the race doesn't happen at a constant altitude, at a constantly similar environment, right? You start from a city, it's 35 degrees during the day in Aosta. You go up in a mountain pass, it's close to probably 5 degrees. So, like, you live through 4 seasons while pushing your body to absolute limit. So, you sweat a lot and then you feel cold. I mean, feeling cold, obviously, your body needs to put even more energy to make you feel warm, etc. So, like, and think of it this way, like, when you are wet, you lose heat 36 times more than when you are dry. So changing t-shirts, I was expecting to change t-shirts once, but I think I changed 3 or 4 times.
Yeah, at least four
Yeah,
times.
and then changing socks constantly to keep your feet dry. I mean, I would hear people do these suggestions, and in my previous races, I didn't do them much, but they definitely made a big contribution. Also, like coming to the CPs, like one thing that I learned in this race is these are okay. There are easy ultras, there are good ultras, and there are the Champions League, the monsters, and this one was one of the monsters. And here, unless you are very experienced or very good, you cannot complete by yourself. So the crew support is very important. I used to hear about that, but like I would say like this is for people trying to look nice. But like essentially Kiara brought constantly dry clothes, and I changed my clothes, I
New
changed my
gels.
socks, new gels, new equipment. I didn't even wanna change my socks or t-shirts. Like it wasn't in my mind, but she made me do those stuff, which maybe in the short term you don't realize, but in the long term in the race, in 1 hour, 2 hours, they make a huge difference.
Yeah, especially because most of these CPs where the crew could have access to it and help the runner were either right before a big uphill. So in that moment, like being dry would have been essential because otherwise you will just feel cold by going up in altitude, or the other way around. They were right on the way up and still accessible by car, and then there was maybe a big downhill, and that again is very important to stay dry because you will just cool off so quickly, and then you leave the CP that you are already freezing, and that is definitely like not good in the long run. Cool. Thank you so much, Yunus, for sharing these practical tips. But now let's get a bit more into what was the hardest part of the race for you. What was the moment when you thought, okay, maybe here I have to give up?
So that wasn't a single moment. That was a few moments. I never thought I have to give up, and that's how I finished this race. Yeah, I didn't finish it by having a very good running performance, but rather than pushing hard. Like no matter what, pushing hard. I mean, it's a cliche, but it's 100% true. It's not a physical thing; it's a mental thing. Like those that can go into very dark places and not give up can finish these races. And like my one of my lowest points is in the third CP, where the first two CPs, after realizing, okay, I'm having cramps already, my stomach is gone, like what is this? This is only 22K. Like there is 100K of this, 100K and 6,000 meters of climbs of this. What's gonna happen? I was very down, but for me, the only problem was, okay, I may not hit my time target, which was 26 hours, by the way. That was what was stressing me. Not, I didn't have a single thought of not finishing this race. Like for me, it's like it's not even negotiable. Like if somebody says, "Okay, we are pulling you out," I would physically fight them. Like nobody could have made me not go there. But when I was super down, then Kiara came there. Essentially made forced eat me, made me eat something. She forced me, force fed me in a way, a focaccia, I remember. And then seeing her both mental and physically, I recovered. And then from there, I went refreshed again. That was one of the first hard points. The second hard point was when we reached Anton San Andre, and Chiara again came there. I mean, my first night ended. I was perfectly feeling okay, but what I knew was, because we did the next 30K was a huge steep climb of like 2,000 meters, and we did it in training, and I knew how steep it was. And when I started, okay, it was sunny. The new day began, which gives you a morale boost. But then I started struggling with sleep, and I knew that there was a lot to go. third down point was close to Chervinia, where Kiara and her mother was waiting for me. I was expecting to get there much closer, but I underestimated the distance, and some rain started. But I thought, okay, this is just drizzle, and then it got super hard. It was raining a lot, and I got super wet after being on the essentially trails for 24 hours. That was the third hard point. Fourth hard point was climbing Cime Bianche because, again, from Cervinia to Cime Bianche, which is the highest point of the race, we trained with Chiara there, but we also didn't reach Cime Bianche. So it was going to be sort of like, it was already a hurdle that I failed before. There was a lot of snow. That's why we didn't reach, but still, that doesn't change the mental thing. And when I remember the times where we were training with Kiara 3 weeks ago, I would be the one like, hey, I can run up these hills. And now I saw myself barely walking up, like the body was that destroyed. And the last one was on the final climb up CP after Shampuluk, and there were race organizers behind me cleaning the flags, like essentially sweeping up the flags. And they said you cannot reach the next CP and you have to stop here because there is a lot of time. And I was about to give up. That was the most low point. I'm like, okay, I've trained so hard. I've suffered for 30 hours all the way here. I'm so close. How am I gonna DNF again? But then, yeah, there was another person said that like if you run fast, you can reach to next CP to at I guess 100 and something kilometers. And then I said, okay, let me give it a chance. Like, I don't care how destroyed my legs. And I started running, and that's how I got to the next CP and then continued the race. So there was a few. It's like they say it's sort of like a condensed version of life trails. I don't like these emotional, romantic things about stupid hikes slash runs you do on the nature. People are exaggerating to create the brand, a story, to sell it, but it literally, like, you have, it's a roller coaster, it's a constant roller coaster, and you cannot believe how much oscillations your brain has mentally and emotionally. Physically is a separate side, but it's, I mean, you'll understand if you do it once.
Yes, indeed. The emotional part of the race, it's also one of the hardest to control because it's literally something that you cannot really control how your brain feels and what is your feeling, your how you're living that moment, literally. And last but not least, about the race, did you hallucinate? And if yes, how was that experience?
So the race, did I hallucinate? So the way to answer this question is, where did I not hallucinate? In the first probably 18 hours, I did not hallucinate. What I mean is, from 6 p.m. start or 7 p.m., whatever, uh, until, yeah, 12 the next day, I didn't hallucinate the first night. Now, after 18 hours, which is the remaining 18 hours, I mean, this may sound like an exaggeration, but it was a mix and match between reality and dream. Like, you don't know what's real, what's not real. It reached those points. Like, an example that I can give is when I was going down to Shampuluk, when I climbed Cime Bianche, uh, like for me in my brain, Cime Bianche was, I think, around 89 kilometers. I don't know. Yeah, like, and that's because that's the highest point of the race, and that's what we were discussing with Chiara before. Like, oh, once you reach Cime Bianche, rest is easy.
Yeah, because Champoluki is the 100K mark.
Yeah, and I was saying, like, look, it may look like the altitude the gain is not that much, and there is not that much distance left, but the world changes at these kilometers. Like, I had some experience, but I was also thinking, okay, once I reach there, it's gonna roll down. And once you reach Cime Bianche, then you start seeing Monte Rosa, actually, which is the essentially name of the race. Uh, I was going down. You open up to a very nice valley as you go down. It's very nice. It's not as like, there is no civilization like the uh, Cervinia Valley. I liked it a lot. And while I was going down, I was being careful, but I started realizing, I am seeing multiple things. Like I am pretty sure there is one stone here, but there is two stones, and the third stone is a cat that's jumping. Like, what's going on? There is no cats here. That's not real. And I said, okay, like because I have a lot of hallucination experience, not from illegal drugs, but from like mountaineering, where I did, very long, essentially mountain climbs because of my slowness and getting lost, etc. I knew this was a hallucination, but like I was probably going left and right so much that I didn't realize there were three people behind me who were race organizers who were actually cleaning up the course, which tells you where I am. Uh, and they came to me and they said like, "Hey, are you okay? Do you need anything, etc." They realized that there's a danger here. But for me, like, I told them, "Look, I need to go to Champollion and I will sleep there." While I thought Champollion was probably 1 hour, it was 3 to 4 hours at least until Champollion. It was a steep downhill, and I had to run again. And it started raining, and there were slippery rocks, etc. And I know that I am hallucinating. I know that if I don't get fear, if I don't spark something in my brain, I will probably do something stupid. Like I remember going down to Champollion. It goes through a dark forest, and in that dark forest, it becomes like it's like Amazons. Like it was a whole different experience. Then you come to a town, and the town lights start dancing, etc. Once I reached Champollion, my plan was to rest, but I had only 10 minutes before cutoff, so I couldn't rest there. After Champollion, I had to climb to the last climb, and I'm like, okay, I can do that. And climbing up, it was probably around midnight, yes. So midnight of the next day. So it's been 29 hours since I started. No sleep at all. And while climbing up, I mean, the things like there was me physically, and there was a taxi driver that was talking to me. It's not. It sounds weird, but it's. I know that there's a taxi driver that's talking to me, but the taxi driver is also me. For some reason, I chose myself as taxi driver. But there's two people, and the second person is talking to me like, "Look, there's a real nice rock. Just go down there and just sleep." And then, for momentarily, it becomes me again, and I was speaking out like, "Shut up." Shut up, I have to push. Shut up, I have to push. This is what I said 10,000 times to myself, probably. If somebody had a video recording of me, you would see that. Like, and then I would see a house. I don't know if it's a real house or not a real house. And in the video that we made for the movie, I probably say it as well. Like, I don't know what's real and what's not real. And it was like a cry for help. Like I had no idea what's real and what's not real. All I knew was like no matter what happens, you push. Oh, you are feeling tired. Don't know what's real, what's not. You don't know where is a cliff, where you will survive. Regardless, you push. So I kept pushing, and then I started hearing voices behind me. I'm like, what are these no voices, etc. And turns out they are race organizers again. And they were the ones to essentially say like you are probably not going to reach the next CP on time, but somehow I did. And when I reached down after that, around it was 110k that
Yeah.
CP. When I reached there, because I was running to the CP, and there were 5 6 people with me, I thought, oh, there's a lot of like still participants. And when I was reaching the CP, people started clapping me. And I'm like, who are they clapping? Like, why are they clapping? And then I thought, okay, these people, they probably know the CP people and they're clapping them. And then they said something to me. I said, like, I don't know what's happening. I said, I need to sleep uh, for 10 minutes because I was absolutely hallucinating 24/7. I had no idea where I was, but I knew that there was only 10, 12 kilometers left. Like, I was that close.
And
Uh,
it was around 3 in the morning,
yeah,
3:30 in the
it was
morning.
probably 3 in the morning, yes. And while all of this happening, Kiara is still staying awake to essentially talk to me and come to the CPs to support. And I put my head down and I fell asleep. An old man woke me up and I said, "I need to sleep." I fell asleep again. I woke up. I felt much better. So 7 minutes sleep in that time. And then I left the CP, and I swear I forgot what I was doing. I thought, because those days I was also watching some Tour de France. I am like, maybe every day I am separately running from CP to CP, and they are adding time. So it's a 10-day event. Or maybe we are collecting points. I swear I forgot what's the rules, what are we doing, what am I supposed to do now? And there is a text, Chiara, you can put the text here,
Yeah, that was
of
fun.
me asking Chiara, what did I ask you?
Uh,
How does the system work?
yeah, how does the
How
system
does the
work?
system work? And then she got shocked at 4 a.m. in the morning. Like, what do you mean the system?
What system? I just follow the flags.
Yeah.
And then you're like, there are no flags.
And then I left. There are no flags. I went back, and there were other people. They said, "Oh, we are going in the same direction." Oh, I said, "Thanks for accepting me. Like, it's great of you that you are accepting me." Blah blah. Like, I thought they are also 100-mile runners, and they were. And then we started running together almost. But they were fast, and I was trying to keep up with them, and I was also fast. And I told them, like, you go ahead because you are very fast, and I'm not feeling as fresh as you. You guys must be from here, like you are super fresh. And while going, they said, no, 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 what you are doing is amazing. It's unbelievable how you are doing. Blah blah. I said, like, look at you guys, like you are completely fresh. How come it's possible? And I saw that they in their backpacks. Uh, they had a team name called Scopa. So I thought it's like, shoe brand Scarpa. So they must be a team, like they are almost elites. What is this? And then we reached the CP, and they hugged the CP people, etc. I'm like, it's very interesting. Like, these people are like, they must be real locals. They know even the organizers, and they are super fresh. And I told them, like, they are like, you are doing amazing. I told them, what do you mean you are doing amazing? What you are doing is amazing. You are super fresh. And they said, yeah, we could never do what you did, etc. I didn't understand. What do you mean? What are these people saying? And then they told me, like, they started the race last night in the call after Champollion. We were there, and I thought, maybe these people didn't want to pay the race fee, and they just wanted to start from there. Like, interesting. Okay. So when we were coming to the end, towards the end, when Chiara was waiting for me in the finish, I told them, hey, we gotta go through the finish together. Turns out, and they told me, like, hey, we cannot go in the finish together. We are not allowed that. Blah blah. We shouldn't be in the picture. I said, what do you mean? Like, why not? I mean, like, nobody's gonna get mad at you because you ran in the race course without registering. Anyways, I came to the finish, which was another whole story. The finish line had to go through the up again and through the forest, and I sprinted so much in the last 2-3 kilometers, like, despite my legs being destroyed, and that's where I passed the other three people. They were way ahead of me, but by running fast, I passed them, and then I reached there in 36 hours 1 minute, which the UTMB people told me that it's 36 hours 15 minutes. There, I learned that Scopa in Italian means sweeper. So those people were actually race organizers or race people cleaning the course. That's why they never let me go behind them. And for 10 hours, they were imaginary runners for me. So, to your question of did I hallucinate, I think this explains.
Yeah, that is definitely a fun story. And also being on the crew side of things, it was interesting and fun at the same time to receive your message that were completely unrelated to what you were doing. Cool. Just to close the episode, one piece of advice you would give to anybody who is interested to run the same race next year.
Make sure you did the mountain trail before, because this is, for me, this is hard. Like, this is very hard.
And if you had to train better, what would you have trained better?
I would be more in the mountains. Uh, I would try to speed up. Speed is important. Like, you have to be faster. Like, you cannot be like, hey, okay, I am so tough, I'll go for hours. Like, no, you have to be faster. You have to speed up your legs. What else? I'm not sure if I'll do this race again. It's very, very, very tough. Next year, thanks to this, now I have a chance to race UTMB. So I will probably go on the lottery of UTMB, which is the crown jewel of all ultras. Like it's the World Cup of the ultras. It's the most prestigious ultra on the planet, and so I want to do that. At least try that. Let's see if I can do it or not. But I will go in the lottery. It's unlikely that I will get the lottery, but this race gave 4 stones, which means I have some chance. And I think this race prepared me well enough for it. I don't know what I would do different is like you just gotta do a race. You just gotta keep racing. Every race teach you something. And at the end of the day, I'm not professional. Like I finished almost at the last, fourth last. But when you consider people with years of ultra experience, people that generally are from the Alpine region, who are much more adapted to that, people who have very good running background, for almost 40% of them failed, DNF'd. And these people that registered are mostly better runners than me, which I could understand by my bib number and UTMB index. Like most of them were better than me. So that means I did actually well. I'm not happy that I didn't hit my target. But at the end of the day, like we are just corporate people, doing these things for fun, and it's an excuse for us to travel and see the world, and we just love the challenge. We are addicted to challenge, and that's it.
Thank you, Yunus. So, thanks to all of you guys for watching the podcast. Make sure to like and subscribe if you're watching it from YouTube. Thanks, Yunus, for joining the podcast and being our special guest. Make sure to follow along because there will be new episodes coming on the new upcoming challenges that we have in our calendar.
I would also say that hearing these stories, listening these stories are very good, but definitely check the video if you want to see the visuals of this race.
Absolutely. So, thanks, Yunus, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye.
Ciao.